if people from very high class of the society join the service, and which had been happening, so they would certainly be removed away from the rural masses. They would certainly be, by virtue of their upbringing. Not that people coming from rural background all of a sudden will become or start loving the rural people, but nevertheless, at least those people coming from rural background would have a better exposure of the rural background, and probably they would be able to better understand those conditions than people coming from very higher strata of the society joining these services. This aspect of rural people coming into this service will go a long way in improving or removing that colonial this thing.
The training regimen in the academy is very strict.
We have to get up early in 5 o'clock, and then we have PT, then classes up to 4, then again games at evening.
I have to come up so high for in the morning and in the evening to attend the class as well as to have food in the mess.
It is a little bit difficult for us to climb, no?
I was not very good at jogging. I had to work hard on that.
Our schedule is quite hectic over here. Even we don't have time to mix with our group.
हमें ऐसा लगता है कि हमारी फ्रीनेस थोड़ी बाउंडेड हो चुकी है.
There comes a time when I feel monotonous.
The mess is not very well managed.
You know, when we are young, you are not wise enough to understand the inputs and the value, so you don't tend to respect it.
When you left the academy, when you went into the field, there were moments when you thought, oh my God, I wish I'd kind of heard this part more seriously.
We had a very tough trainee. We didn't like it quite often, but we still feel that if we are accomplished as professionals today, it is simply because we were given appropriate training.
The atmosphere of Mussorie, it's quite romantic actually.
I met my husband here at the academy. I actually remember meeting him. It was the first trek in FC, and we had gone to Rabbit Farm. So I remember it to the date.
I met Reena for the first time in just before we went for the trek. And then we went to the Himalayas, and there can't be a better place to, I think, fall in love. Yeah.
उस वक्त हम लोग ट्रेनिंग कर ही रहे थे यहाँ पे, तो हमने ये सोचा कि हम लोग घर चले जाएंगे, शादी करके वापस आ जाएंगे. जब तक शादी नहीं होती तब तक मेरा कार्ड चेंज नहीं करेंगे अंडर द रूल्स. I was allotted UP, Ravi was allotted Maharashtra. I think we were the first couple who went away, got married and came back to the academy. हम लोग पहले तो अलग अलग कमरों में रहते, फिर हमें एक कमरा दिया गया.
I'll tell you the two reasons why romance happens. Once you come to this academy, it is assumed that you're settled. Now you're going to retire from here. Then you're suddenly exposed to very intelligent girls. You're not, and then at a very close proximity. So, and then Mussorie's got its own charm, I guess. Tum na na na, tum na 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 na, tum na na na, tum na 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 na.
National Academy, or the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy, as most of the alumni of this institution know it, is observing its Golden Jubilee.
I joined in May '59.
We were relieved from Delhi and asked to report at the National Academy of Administration at Charleville Estate in Mussorie. On the 31st of August 1959, that was the day when the first batch of the probationers started in the academy.
It was all wooden structures, very beautifully designed wooden buildings. And now after the fire which took place in '84, and perhaps 2 earthquake shocks, and they had to rebuild.
All the equipments were tuned to 110 volts.
80 to 85% of the total salary used to be paid to the mess, and there was nothing left to meet other problems.
It took at least about a month to sort out things so that we could settle down.
The probationers were either the sons of civil servants like IAS officers or coming from middle class families. Today, the people who are coming in, some of them who are coming in, had absolutely no support from their family. They have made it on their own, and all credit to them. In fact, it's a tribute to the service, it's a tribute to the persons concerned. It's also a tribute to the system.
My God, 1959, 50 years from that time. Probably we feel that 50 years hence we would also be called. So the feeling is really very great. I can't imagine how good they would be feeling.
I feel so fortunate and very, very lucky to belong to this batch, Golden Jubilee batch.
We had not expected that they will be so fit and all. They were not only fit, they were in good mood.
Basically, there are so many values in the administrative system which haven't changed and should not change throughout these years, and we were given some lessons regarding those very values by these people.
हम भी यही सोचते हैं कि अगले 50 साल पर हम भी ऐसी फंक्शन पर उपस्थित हो.
I should really thank the National Academy of Administration, all the staff, and Mr. Ashish Vachani and his associates for the excellent care they have taken to see that we are all brought here in one piece, and we are also going to be returned home in one piece.
In our time, integrity was one of the most important aspects. The emphasis was on saying that you must be honest, you may make mistakes. Integrity not only in financial terms, but also professional integrity. If you think that law has to be interpreted in a certain manner, but if you want the minister wants to be done in a different manner, you have to stick to your view, what you honestly feel. And in those days, particularly in the higher civil service, the extent of corruption was not much. Well, as it happens, the general impression today is that things have changed.
It is a reality that corruption seems to be rising just the way the economy is growing.
Corruption is not something which is restricted to a particular segment of the society. And bureaucrats are not a watertight compartment of the society. They come from the society. If there's something wrong with the system, it's always very easy to find and pin on a person who may not be in a position to retaliate. But corruption is not something which exists in isolation.
ब्यूरोक्रेसी और करप्शन, और इसमें तीसरा एक एंगल है पब्लिक. जैसे रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में आप ये देखिए कि जब आप रिज़र्व क्लास में जब आप ट्रेन में ट्रैवल करते हैं तो सबसे पहले ब्राइब ऑफर करने वाला आम जनता ही होती है.
घरों में आजकल पैसे के प्रति और पावर के प्रति लालच का जो एक प्रोत्साहन दिया जाता है बच्चों को, वो भी रिस्पॉन्सिबल है.
What do I do to ensure that the corruption is minimal in my district? That discussion and input doesn't happen as often as we would like it to be.
इसमें एकेडमी की ट्रेनिंग को बहुत ज़्यादा दोष नहीं दे सकते.
There are people who are at one extreme, there are people who are at the other extreme, and there are people who are fence sitters. The kind of inputs we got, a lot of fence sitters would decide which way they want to go. But a person who's an extreme this way or that, I don't think any kind of training will be able to alter his fundamental values to a very substantial amount. So the academy does give a lot of inputs, but then what a person makes out of them is really his own internal value with which he grew up.
What we tell you here in the academy is the ideal what ought to be the case. What you find in the real world is what is the case. Now your job is to transform the is into the ought.